Okay, so, when you settle in to watch like a basketball game, right? And you're thinking, all right, maybe I'll see a big dunk or a clutch three-pointer, that classic NBA drama.
Sure. Yeah.
But what happened between the Timberwolves and the Pistons at Target Center?
Yeah.
This one went a little
A little
sideways.
bit.
We saw a mid-game brawl that was really surprising, and then on top of that, a pretty significant comeback win for the Timberwolves.
Right. And that's exactly what we've been looking at with this game.
Yeah.
We got the play-by-play, the analysis.
Yeah.
And it's interesting how this one moment of intense disruption seemed to just like change the whole energy on the court.
Totally.
And then, influence the outcome completely. It's definitely more than just, the usual back and forth you expect in a game.
For sure. And that's the main thing we want to unpack with everyone today. How does this kind of like out of nowhere, bizarre moment become a turning point for a team?
Yeah.
What does it tell us about how a team works, how they deal with pressure?
Mm-hmm.
And could this specific game actually end up being a key moment as the Timberwolves, head towards the playoffs?
Right.
So, okay, let's go right to the moment things blew up.
Yeah, so the big turning point was in the third quarter.
Okay.
Sources all point to this interaction between Timberwolves guard Dante DiVincenzo and Pistons forward Ronald Holland II as the start of it.
Got it.
And, it started with some physical play, which happens a lot under the basket.
Right.
But then it escalated really quickly.
Yeah, this wasn't just a couple of guys getting in each other's faces.
No.
The reports all make it clear this was a full-on brawl, and what's even weirder is that it didn't just stay on the court.
Oh, yeah.
It spilled into the spectator area.
Yeah, that's what's so crazy about this. It wasn't just players involved. Spectators got caught up in it, too, including some big names like former hockey player Mark Parrish.
Wow.
And even Alex Rodriguez was reportedly there on the sidelines.
No way.
It shows just how intense and crazy the whole situation got. I mean,
Yeah.
you rarely see fans getting that involved in something happening on the court.
That's true. And here's where it gets really interesting when you look at the immediate impact. The Pistons took a massive hit right away. They had 3 players ejected from the game because of the brawl.
Oh, wow.
And when you add that to the 2 players they were already missing because of injuries,
Right.
that leaves the team seriously depleted.
Absolutely. Losing 3 players like that, especially when you're already shorthanded because of injuries, it's a huge challenge. It's not even just about, the coach having to change things up on the fly.
Yeah.
It's also about how it affects the rest of the players mentally.
Totally.
How do you stay focused? How do you work together as a team when suddenly you're playing with like half a roster?
Right. And that really makes you think, could this whole implosion for the Pistons, this moment of pure chaos, could it have actually been what the Timberwolves needed? Because up to that point in the game, they hadn't exactly been playing amazing basketball.
Yeah, that's an important point. The Timberwolves started the game pretty slow, but then everything changes after that explosion in the third quarter. It's like the craziness of the brawl and the fact that the game was totally different after that. It's like it just woke them up. You see teams react to things sometimes like a bad call from the ref.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But this was on a whole other level.
For sure. And the numbers back that up. Rudy Gobert had a monster game. 19 points and a ridiculous 25 rebounds. You can't talk about the Timberwolves' comeback without talking about how much he controlled the game on both ends of the court.
Right.
It's almost like he saw things shifting and just decided to take over.
Yeah, Gobert's impact, especially with those rebounds, was undeniable. When a game gets that chaotic and messy because of players getting ejected, having someone like him who dominates in the paint becomes even more important.
Totally.
He gave the Timberwolves some stability when everything else was going crazy.
Right. And it wasn't just Gobert. Mike Conley really stepped up too, 17 points, and really importantly, he did a great job defensively on the Pistons' main scorer, Malik Beasley.
Yeah, Conley being that veteran presence in a game that suddenly became so unpredictable. I think that was huge. He didn't just score, but he disrupted the Pistons' offense.
Yeah.
You can see his experience shining through.
Exactly. And then, of course, there's Anthony Edwards. He had a pretty quiet first half, but then the second half, he just took over.
Yeah.
That explosion of scoring and playmaking is what really allowed the Timberwolves to not only catch up, but to build a decent lead.
The fact that Edwards could step up his game in the second half, that says a lot about how he's developing as a leader. When the team needed a boost, he gave it to them offensively.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder if the tension after the brawl maybe made him play even harder. Sometimes those tough moments bring out the best in star players.
Right. And the final score shows that shift, Timberwolves 123, Pistons 104. What's really telling is not just that they won, but by how much, especially considering how badly they started. It felt like it was more than just a win. It felt like they went through something crazy and came out stronger on the other side.
Yeah, and what the coach and the players said after the game really supports that feeling.
Yeah.
Coach Chris Finch actually said he felt the team came alive after all that chaos. And
Interesting.
that suggests that the incident, as bad as it was to begin with, actually brought the Timberwolves together. It's not always the planned moments that make a team stronger.
That's true. And Rudy Gobert agreed with that idea. He said it's human nature to come together after a fight. It's a pretty basic instinct, right?
Right.
This idea that facing conflict, even if it's happening within your own team, can make you feel more united and give you a clearer purpose.
Yeah. I think what's really fascinating here is the psychology of it all. Sometimes when a team faces something completely unexpected, it can snap them out of whatever funk they were in. The intensity of that moment forces everyone to refocus
Yeah.
and maybe find a new level of energy. It's like a reset button with some serious consequences.
Right. And even Anthony Edwards seemed to be pretty chill about the whole thing. He even joked about giving Dante DiVincenzo some credit for it.
Hmm?
That kind of reaction suggests that the team dynamic is really strong. Even when there's conflict on the court, there's still this underlying friendship that helps them move forward without any bad feelings lingering.
Yeah, that's a big sign of good team chemistry and resilience.
Right.
Being able to look at a bad event and understand it
Mm.
instead of blaming each other.
Yeah.
That's crucial for keeping the team atmosphere positive.
Mm.
And when you think about where they stood in the Western Conference at the time of this game,
Mm-hmm.
the Timberwolves were really close to getting that important 6th seed. They were only half a game behind.
Exactly. At this point in the season, every game matters so much, especially for a team that wants to make it to the playoffs.
Right.
So the big question is, could this crazy, chaotic game, this comeback that started because of a brawl, could that be the thing that gives the Timberwolves the momentum they need for a long playoff run? Could this be that turning point that nobody saw coming?
It's a really interesting story. Whether this one game will have a lasting effect on their playoff chances is something we'll have to see. There are a lot of factors in the NBA.
For sure.
But the immediate aftermath of that game, the craziness of the brawl and how the Timberwolves reacted to it, it's a really interesting example of how unexpected things can affect team dynamics.
Definitely. So let's quickly go over what happened. We saw a Timberwolves versus Pistons game at Target Center suddenly turn into chaos with a third quarter brawl that went beyond the court. This led to some major player ejections for a Pistons team that was already struggling with injuries. But the twist is that this whole mess seemed to energize the Timberwolves, leading them to a dominant comeback win with amazing performances from Gobert Conley and a really strong second half from Edwards.
Right, and the reactions from the coach and the players show that this wasn't just any win. They went through a really tough moment and came out on top, and it happened at a crucial point in their season as they fight for a spot in the tough Western Conference playoffs.
It makes you think about the things you can't measure when it comes to a team's performance, doesn't it?
Yeah.
How important is team chemistry when you're dealing with those unpredictable moments?
Mhm.
And how is it that sometimes things that seem bad can actually be what pushes a team to get better and play better? It's wild.
This brings up a really important question about competition and the human side of it.
Mm-hmm.
We often focus on strategy and skill,
Right.
but maybe we should also pay attention to those unexpected moments that test a team's character and end up shaping their future. It shows that even in the most carefully planned situations, the unexpected can have the biggest impact.
That's so true. It makes you wonder, can a moment of pure chaos, something you never planned for, actually be what a team needs to reach their goals? And if that's possible in pro sports, what does that tell us about achieving goals in other parts of life where unexpected things can sometimes lead to the biggest and most surprising changes? It's something to think about for sure.
Definitely.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive, and we'll catch you next time.
See you later.